I rise in support of Senate Bill 3 as amended by the House. I have to say, I'm absolutely stunned, and I greatly appreciate the wide variety of other supporters of this bill. From the liberal lion of the General Assembly to some of the most conservative members over here, there is a coalition that has formed that has seen the truth. I'm stunned and very appreciative. I want to thank the gentleman from Montgomery County for pointing out that many of the folks who will stand up and talk about the FDA would not trust the federal government to do anything else. Not trust the government, the federal government, to do anything else. Yet they want to rely on the FDA. The FDA has drug its feet, the federal government has drug its feet, and it's time for Pennsylvania to act. I want to thank the gentleman from Schuylkill County for sharing his story about California, but this ain't California. We're doing this the Pennsylvania way. We're doing this the right way. I hope he stays for as many years as he needs to see fit that this does not become recreational marijuana. This ain't California, folks. We're doing this the right way. The only thing he left out of his story is, did it work? Did it work for your friend? Did it relieve his swelling? We don't know. We heard today some concerns about caregivers being able to show up and pick this medicine up. Well, I want to tell you, folks, I have, in my own personal experience, gone to CVS, Walmart, Rite Aid, and I have picked up Marinol. I have picked up OxyContin. I have picked up morphine sulfate for somebody who I cared about. I was never appointed by a doctor or any kind of official board as a caregiver. I just showed up, told them the patient's name and their date of birth, and the pharmacist allowed me to take the drugs with me. All I had to do was sign for the insurance. And if you've ever seen my signature, you know that you don't know who picked that drug up. So the caregiver worry is really not appropriate. We heard on second consideration a concern and the movement to, assign this only to this company out there who's researching Epidiolex, and they also have a drug called Sativex, which is for multiple sclerosis. And I think that's great, and nothing in this bill precludes them from doing that. In fact, I think we ought to invite that company to come here because they have to get their raw materials somewhere, right? Why not grow it right here in Pennsylvania under a controlled license under Senate Bill 3? These are the kind of jobs we need to bring to Pennsylvania, folks. We heard a lot of talk on second consideration about this being the most illicit drug. And indeed it is. Let's go to Merriam-Webster and find out the definition of illicit. Primarily, illicit means not allowed by law. Unlawful or illegal. Well, folks, that's what we're here to change. The secondary definition, folks, is also not morally acceptable. Well, this plant, this helpful plant, is not morally acceptable because it's been illegal for about 80 years. It's been illegal for 80 years because of racist sentiment against Mexicans and because of yellow journalism by the paper pulp companies. We've been suffering. We've been the victims. The public has been the victims of yellow journalism and bad federal policy for 80 years. And it's time for Pennsylvania to step up to the plate and reverse that. I want to thank the gentleman from York for pointing out my friend Randy, who is up there. Stage 4 bile duct cancer. Folks, people don't come back from that. I've known Randy for about 25 years, and I kind of lost touch with him over the years, but I reconnected with him. And I want to say, God bless Randy and his family, and I'm so glad that he was brave enough to break the law to cure himself, because he's here today. And that's the thing about this, folks. You know, a lot of times when we talk about whatever bill we want to pass, whatever we want to become law, we talk in hypotheticals. And it's real easy to talk in hypotheticals and to surmise what will happen or what may happen when it's not about real people. But about 5 months ago, when I first started really working on this issue within this chamber and with some of you, my colleagues, I started to get to know these people. Not just talking about the stage 4 bile duct cancer survivor, who is in complete response right now, by the way, folks. Complete response, no trace of cancer in his system. I'm talking about the mothers who saw their children suffer up to 700 seizures a day. Imagine if that's your child. I'm talking about the Iraq war veteran who, due to the side effects of the approved pharmaceuticals he was prescribed, found himself in a corner with a gun in his mouth, contemplating suicide. Thank God he got out of that corner. I'm talking about my neighbor who is stricken with debilitating symptoms of multiple sclerosis, who spends most of her time on the couch because her body hurts so much. I saw my former mother-in-law die of multiple sclerosis, and I pray to God that we could have had this to help her as she progressed towards death. I'm talking about the little boy who, just when we were at ease today, out at the bottom of the Capitol steps, had a seizure. And his mother treated him with a cannabinoid. I hope he's okay. I wasn't around to stick around to see if he's okay. I sure hope he is. And I'm talking about a young, vibrant, and intelligent woman who's currently condemned to live a life in subsidized housing, who made the astonishing claim to me that one of her biggest goals is to pay taxes. She wants to get a job and pay taxes. Imagine, have you ever had someone say to you, all I want to do is pay taxes? I have. She has a doctor who says he would prescribe this if it were legal. Or maybe we don't call it prescribe in this bill, we call it recommend. But the doctor would give it to her if it were legal. But since it's not yet legal, her only other option, and this is a person who had part of her brain removed, her only other option is another dangerous surgery. These are the folks I've gotten to know in the last 5 months. It is truly different sitting here in our, I'll just call it, when we sit here in an ivory tower and we're talking about hypothetical things that we're going to do, it's really easy to try to pretend that we understand how it's going to work. It's really different, folks, when these people are your friends and they are people that you love. It's way different. So let's not do this for the hypothetical people. Let's do this for Randy. Let's do this for Dana and Lorelei. Let's do this for Lolly and Anna. Let's do this for Kara and Jackson. Let's do this for Jeff and Bailey. Let's do this for Haley and Monroe. Let's do this for Heather and Hannah and Chuck and Pat and Kim and Michael. These are real people. And Beth. These are real people that we can help right now. We have a duty to help as many people as we possibly can. You know, a lot of times when we're discussing things that state government does, there are people who would sit on the left part of this aisle and they want to make the claim that well, you know, if you're a Christian, this is one of those what would Jesus do things. And I often discount that because what we do here in state government most often is we take from one group and give to another group. So I often write that argument off and say, you know, that's a straw man argument. This really is a WWJD moment because we're not taking a single thing from anyone. All we're doing is offering potential treatment that will change the lives of countless people. It could be tens of thousands of Pennsylvanians. It could be hundreds of thousands of Pennsylvanians. We're giving them hope. We're giving them another option when all other options have exhausted. Folks, this is about real people. I urge a yes vote on Senate Bill 3. And I want to tell you one thing that's the most important thing here. Sick people don't want to get high. They want to get better. Vote yes on Senate Bill 3. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.